Devin Booker, love you, but you're not Kobe. Good morning. Welcome to the episode of Hard Foul Radio. Appreciate you spending some time here with us today. Let's get started. The Clippers season is over. They've had a great season. Unfortunately, had to deal with the fact Kawhi Leonard is most likely not returning to the playoffs. Came back from 0-2 against the Mavericks when the world wrote them off. They came back from 0-2 last series. Props to them. Congrats to them. It's the first time ever in franchise history going to the Western Conference Finals. They've been great. Paul George has almost single-handedly rewritten his narrative over these past several games. So it's game 4 of the Utah series. They've had a great season. Should be proud. If you're Steve Ballmer, I think you can look at this team and go, all right, this is what I was expecting when I purchased the team. This is what I was expecting when I got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, put them together. You can bring this nucleus back and feel good about going into next season. But your season's over. I understand they've come back from 0-2 twice, and a lot of people are going to give you a real cliche answer of, yeah, I can't count them out. They've come back from 0-2 before. They just did it the last 2 series. Except this time, their 0-2 is a little bit different. Now, to their credit, they were getting blown out in their previous going down 0-2s. Luka and the Mavs blew them out in LA. Utah just hitting a whole bunch of threes, beating them, knocked them out. Games weren't close when they were down 0-2 before. They've been real close in both these games in Phoenix, on the road, and now they're coming home. Problem is, Chris Paul set to be cleared and to be able to play in Game 3. Kawhi Leonard most likely out for the playoffs. The Suns are the best team in the Western Conference. They're on a 9-game win streak. And outside of these last 2 games, they were winning by an average of 15 points a game with Chris Paul. Obviously, without Chris Paul these last 2 games, still finding a way to win. And now he comes back, and the Clippers still don't get Kawhi. Your season's over. This is why we have to temper expectations. And obviously, information changes the situation. Yes, if you had Kawhi Leonard, you could make an argument the Clippers should be in the NBA Finals or should be the team that should be the favorites to be the champion. But no Kawhi Leonard. Chris Paul coming back. The Suns have been playing amazing. Lights out. It's okay. It's okay. It's like last year with the Nuggets coming back from 3-1 twice. The Nuggets felt real good about the way they ended last season. Don't feel as good as the way they ended this season, getting swept. This is something to build on if you're LA. I'd hate to say it's beneficial to lose, but in terms of wanting to re-sign Kawhi Leonard, who I think was already re-signing anyway, because I think he went to the Clippers because it was home, more so than it was the attraction of the Clippers. He can be thinking, okay, we could have won a title, but I got hurt. Paul George stepped up, played like an actual superstar. Morris, Terrence Mann, the role players on this team. Kawhi's got to feel real good about, hey, if I resign here for another 2 to 3 years, we got a real chance to be championship contention every year that I'm here. Congrats to the LA Clippers. Fantastic season, but it's over. You're down 0-2. Chris Paul coming back. Series is over. Let's go from there to something that I've always taken a particular issue with, and that is Hall of Fame comparisons. I've come on here several times and said I think it's real stupid when we start comparing guys, especially early in their career, to Hall of Famers. Now, I'm a huge Devin Booker fan. Huge. Said it before the playoffs started. I thought he was going to go crazy, going to have a great playoffs, and he has. Even with Chris Paul going down for a couple of games, he stepped up. He's been amazing. Stephen A. Smith comes out and says, Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant. No, he's not. And I love Devin Booker, but Devin Booker is not the next Kobe Bryant. Devin Booker doesn't play defense like Kobe Bryant. Devin Booker doesn't have post footwork like Kobe Bryant. Devin Booker is not the scorer. As great as he is, he's not the scorer Kobe Bryant is. He is not the facilitator Kobe Bryant could be. Which people forget that before LeBron James, if LeBron James didn't exist, Kobe Bryant would have the most assists for a non-point guard in NBA history. Before you go and criticize he never passed the ball, all he did was shoot. Making Hall of Fame comparisons just never works out. Joel Embiid is not Shaq. Ben Simmons is not Magic Johnson. Devin Booker is not Kobe Bryant. This isn't a knock to these guys. Joel Embiid is great. Ben Simmons, even though coming off a bad series, has the potential to still be great. Devin Booker, I believe, is great. But there's levels to this. I talked about it last week. There's tiers to these Hall of Famers and tiers to greatness. And when you're giving a guy, 1 comparison, it's impossible to live up to that because those guys just don't come around that often. Think about this. By year 6, Kobe already had 3 NBA Finals under his belt. And I understand he played with Shaq, but he was in the NBA Finals at 21 and 22 years old, and he was averaging 28.5 points a game while playing first team all defense. Chris Paul is great. We know how I feel about Chris Paul. But Kobe was able to take last-second shots and make game winners with Shaq on his team, when the best and most efficient way to score in the NBA in the early 2000s was give the ball to Shaq. And the Lakers still trusted Kobe at 20, 21, 22 years old. Kobe's one of the 3 greatest players ever. Shaq is one of the most dominant players ever. Is the most dominant player in most people's opinion. Magic Johnson, the greatest point guard to ever play. These Hall of Fame comparisons just need to stop. I get it. People are like, oh, well, Ben Simmons is a tall point guard. Not all tall point guards are Magic. Michael Carter-Williams is a tall point guard. He wasn't Magic. Joel Embiid has great post footwork, and he is big in today's game where it's not as many real big men. He's not Shaq. Devin Booker, love you, but you're not Kobe. And I don't think it's fair to give the comparison to Kobe. But, Stephen A. Smith and the rest of sports media needs big headlines and big takes and needs to come out and say, you know what? I actually think Devin Booker's the next Michael Jordan. See how stupid it sounds?